Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. We have some juicy development info that's come out of one of the recent Hong Kong bar citizens that a lot of CIG's heavy hitters attended. This information comes from Chimera, from the Star Citizen base forums, or at least was put together by them. I will link the source down below for those of you who want to peruse that. So please remember as well that these are sort of from conversations with devs where they're a bit more casual. Alcohol was involved, people's memories are involved, so take them with a pinch of salt. They're certainly not official CIG statements, but a lot of the information seems to be pretty credible. Let's start with this. Squadron 42 being removed from the store is not an indicator of anything remotely imminent regarding Squadron 42's release. There wasn't a denial of anything Squadron 42 coming out like previews or some kind of early access vertical slice, but it was clear that they're not expecting it to come out this year. Cloud Imperium had previously said when they had removed it and someone noticed that Squadron 42 wasn't available to purchase in the store, that it was just because there was going to be a price change on it and they're going to be releasing it again soon. So releasing it again soon, releasing it for purchase on the store again soon. CIG is excited to see how Starfield performs apparently, and they don't see any real issue with competition with it. This has also been confirmed by the bar citizen that I went to, talked to loads of CIG devs there, and they were very excited for Starfield. It's not competition to them at all. It's a very different type of game. It is very much single player. It's not even similar to Squadron 42 other than it's in space and there's cool stuff and a bit of combat going on. It does share a lot more sort of similarities between Star Citizen and Starfield though, but it's still very much, as I said, a single player game, much more like No Man's Sky, much more like sort of a bit of Mass Effect thrown in there, or Fallout. There is certainly room in the industry for a lot more space games, and all it's going to do, in my opinion anyway, is be a gateway for Star Citizen, because Star Citizen's several years off. Starfield coming out later this year. People are going to play that, they'll complete it, they'll be done with it, and then they'll want more space game. They talked a bit about duplication and wiping with 3.20, so they said it's possible there'll be a wipe with 3.20. They've been trying to fix the duplication mechanics that have been plaguing the game, so some of the sort of exploits and stuff, but there's no point really on doing a full wipe again if those duplication bugs are still there in their opinion, but they will wipe whenever they feel it's appropriate as well, so we might have a wipe, we might not. They prefer to get away from wipes in general unless there's a reason for them. I personally think that it's very unlikely we'll have a wipe for 3.20, but we'll have to wait and see. CIG is aware of most duping bugs and are trying to squash them. CIG is also aware of some salvage bugs, but the staff that heard about the infinite salvage bug with a single reclaimer were unaware of that specific bug, apparently. The Hull C is coming out, and that will give them a lot of good information on how bigger ships will impact server performance in the game, but there is a low likelihood of any other big ships coming out after 3.20 this year. Apparently there was some form of comment made in passing which was like, well, if you wanted to see something big like a Pioneer or something coming out, then you should come to CitizenCon this year. I think you'll be happy. That suggests to me that they've probably got like a model of the Pioneer, or there's going to be something about base building or something physicalized there for people, like a t-shirt. The post goes on to say, ship designs are going to follow old and new styles from the same manufacturers. As such, ships like the MISC Freelancer won't see aesthetic updates to bring it in line with the new MISC ships like the Hull A. AI crew and blades for simple tasks like mining and salvage will not likely be in game until there is more stability. Otherwise, the higher server loads will end up negating their ability to do basic tasks, i.e. when all the AI on a server just freezes in place. Obviously, lots of problems with that with Star Citizen at the moment. It is one of the biggest bottlenecks for the game. The Reclaimer's elevator is unique. So often when there are updates to the elevators in game, they tend to break the Reclaimer's elevator. They know it's a problem, and they know that other problems with the Reclaimer exist, but they can only do so much while changing aspects of the game and improving and updating. Salvage mechanics for breaking bigger pieces into smaller pieces are still being thought up, and they haven't been pushed past the concept ideas. So this is basically for salvage munching that they're working on. In addition, only ships that have been created with the physicalized component systems can be soft-deathed and have their components removed after that. Older ships that don't have the ability to remove the components manually don't actually have the physical components integrated into the ships, just a placeholder skin for them. They aren't planning to use AI systems like ChatGPT and that sort of stuff for proprietary reasons, but also probably because they haven't seen much use for it for their particular needs. It's much more handcrafted, Star Citizen, so maybe in the future they'll talk about some AI that becomes sentient sensible to use with any of their engines and stuff, but at the moment there are no plans. When base building comes into the game, it's going to be something more akin to Fallout 4's prefab house system, apparently, not something where you can create a base panel by panel. So you'll be able to create bases, you'll be able to customize them, you'll be able to place lots of different functional units, but you're not going to be able to go super into it where you're actually building the individual house like pieces. Base building is very important to CIG because they want people creating bases and all that sort of stuff, but it won't be coming out until like around Nyx time. So after Pyro, we're expecting the Nyx system, but we don't know exactly when that's going to happen. You're certainly not getting base building at the same time with Pyro. Different star systems, they're both going to have very different looks and feels, they're going to have different sort of gameplay. The expectation is that Stanton's system will feel old and safe compared to the harsh and dangerous Pyro, while Nyx will be sort of more off-the-grid homesteader themed, which implies heavily that base building will be seen when Nyx comes out, apparently. Pyro still needs server meshing, as they said in many videos, which is interesting because they basically said when they were talking about it earlier in the year, when they did a special server meshing video, that they were prioritizing Pyro over server meshing. At least that's what it sounded like, and it sounded to me like they were going to try and release Pyro ASAP with like server meshing light or whatever, but maybe it does still need some form of server meshing to work, and we'll have to wait and see, or maybe I misunderstood. Smaller side missions will be given at some point once there's more stability and meshing. Eventually, underground facility and bunker missions could have multiple parts, including where you need to first destroy air assets before going into the bunker on the ground to secure stuff, with also like reinforcements coming to try and relieve their colleagues from the ground above and coming down into the facility, landing, all that sort of jazz. No time frame on implementation for that sort of stuff, though. Art aesthetics for different cities, especially human cities, are inspired by in-game lore, with a lot of tie-ins to sections of current-day Earth. Hong Kong was specifically mentioned for the making of Area 18, and Loreville alleyways and advertisements. However, as alien lore and aesthetics gets built out, we'll see some amazing alien architecture in the future. When asked about why they don't release specific systems and just allow people to navigate there by menu or loading screen, the response was simply that that's not how we want to do it. We want to get the server meshing thing figured out so that we can start rolling in new systems. When follow-up questions were asked about how many systems, they responded with, well, we want to have Pyro and Nyx in as soon as possible, but we haven't built out too much of other star systems yet. We do know that they have built out a lot of Odin, because that's a Squadron 42 system. Talking about land claims and bases and stuff, land beacons that are owned can be sold in-game, or the land that beacon claimed can be sold, but players are not able to claim land themselves and sell it officially to others, as the only types of land claims that are recognised come from governing authorities like the UBE. So bear in mind that you can't technically sell land in Pyro. You could sell the location of land. You could say, I found this location and surveyed it, that's what's here, and you can sell that location to people, but the actual land claims, mechanics associated specifically with that, they're only available in UEE's defended systems. There will not be player ownership of stations in-game. Players and groups can control stations if they have people on them or blockade them, but the idea of owning them, like in EVE, won't happen apparently. Player housing and ownership will absolutely be a thing, but it's expected to be instanced and like owning an apartment, but because of server instancing and meshing, they could have any number of people actually owning flat 23B in a hab tower. Players will be able to own multiple houses around the verse, and obviously there's going to be bases, which are a lot more physicalized than that. Theatres of War assets aren't coming into Arena Commander, and Theatres of War is being worked on, but not with a large team or priority. They have a group that's testing different game modes. One feature from the Theatres of War team that the Arena Commander update has in it is the ability to spawn on other people's ships, so the multi-crew abilities of Vandal Swarm and Pirate Swarm, but Theatres of War maps and assets, they're not being put into Arena Commander yet, or at all. The sort of plan is to have Theatres of War as its own mode, it seems, and is actively being worked on, but I would actually expect Theatres of War to be subsumed into Arena Commander, even if it is its own mode within Arena Commander, if you see what I mean. The 600i rework is still being considered, but it's not on the tracker because it's taken a backseat to many other ships and things. There was a long and complicated discussion about the economy and the effect of the Hull C on the economy, but the gist of it is that certain ships are considered as haulers, while others are considered delivery ships. Ones that are able to land are delivery, while haulers carry stuff from one station to another, maybe moving interstellar between systems, but they don't typically land on a planet or whatever, or in a hangar. They sort of dock with a shipyard, or they dock with a station. Apparently, Todd Pappy said he didn't particularly see the Hull C as interstellar, which is, as the original poster here also says, a bit weird, because to me, very much is an interstellar sort of large hauler. But you might have misspoken there, or someone might have misheard. But the long and short of it was that they don't really have a projection on how much the Hull C will affect the economy yet. Most of this conversation was apparently focused around how players could move things between Pyro and Stanton, though. Nothing really said about the Hull C's effect on the game when it comes into 3.20. There was talk about the updates in the Cutlass and prices of like the Avenger Titan, stuff like that, and the Hoplite. Obviously, Cloud Imperium raised the prices of those ships, but hadn't told anyone, and then someone went, "You're supposed to give us warning," and they went, "Oh, sorry, we are," bam, and they gave us like a month or whatever, but they're basically saying, look, we will give you warning when we raise the prices of ships on Spectrum and that sort of stuff in the future. FPS sliding and additional animations will be a thing, although there's no ETA given on this. Passenger transport missions will come after freight transport missions, so that actually sounds like it's not too far in the future before we'll start to see that. We do know that they're working on taxi missions. Quanta, so the Dynamic Universe stuff, isn't seen as virtual economy gameplay, more NPC focused and adjusting shop prices in-game. Sounds to me like it's a little bit about virtual economy, right? And that sort of ties into it. Persistent hangars are slated to come out when the next iteration of the cargo system comes into the game. Don't know what that actually means in real terms, but we do know that they're doing various updates to the cargo, 3.20 and beyond. AI blades aren't really being worked on right now, but NPC crew stuff with wingman commands are being tested, but no idea when that will have implementation. Boom! That's it for your summary of all of that stuff that came out of the Hong Kong Bar Citizen at the moment. It's good to see Cloud Imperium devs, especially some of the more heavy hitters, talking about stuff like this candidly with the community. Yeah, I'm interested to know what you think of all of that. Do you think Cloud Imperium desperately need server meshing to get Pyro in? Is what they said about the prioritization of Pyro, was that supposed to be including server meshing? Well, actually, we're going to get basic server meshing out with Pyro, bam, we're going to get that as innocent as possible. Or do you think they've now decided, well, actually, we need a proper static server meshing properly done before we get Pyro in? Are you excited to see some of those sort of new smaller side missions or underground facility missions and just getting Pyro in-game? Is that what you're most excited about? What about updates that are coming to cargo in the future, or bases that you'll be able to own, or even just sort of like being able to have little flats and habs in-game that are yours and customizable? Are you looking forward to Alpha 3.20 later this year? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And once again, great job to Chimera for putting that together. Again, links below to that. Tobii eye trackers are on sale with 15% off until the 3rd of July. They are natively supported in Star Citizen, giving you precision head and eye tracking that can help with immersion, as well as adding another level of control to your toolset. It's a cool piece of tech that you can use for streaming and seeing where your eyes are going, and loads of other games are supported too. Check out my links below to get one of those at discount.
Let me tell you a story from the book of NordVPN/BoredGamer. There were 3 little pigs who all needed internet access. One used a VPN made of straw, one used a VPN made of wood, and one used NordVPN, which is basically bricks in this analogy. Along came an elite hacker wolf, and smashed up the houses of the first 2 piggly wigglies, but was unable to breach the NordVPN house, which is just much better than straw or wood for protecting you from internet things like wolves and hackers. The moral of this story is get nordvpn.com/boredgamer or click the links below for powerful discounts that might make your friends think you're an internet wizard or something.
Also, that wolf went to prison for 10 years on an unrelated crime. Maybe it was like not liking or subscribing or something? Every month we have a ship giveaway for June 2023. That's going to be for an RSI Constellation Andromeda. This hybrid cargo gunship is perfect for small crews of up to 4. It comes with a P-52 Merlin snub fighter as well, along with lifetime insurance and game access. All you need to start playing Star Citizen. And all you have to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details in the video description below. If you would like to further support the channel, please consider pressing the join button under my videos for exclusive membership to the channel, or become a Patreon. I've already got a load of lovely people that do that, and it really goes a long way in allowing us to make daily content. Thank you so much to my channel members and Patreons, but thank you so much for just liking, subscribing, commenting, and watching my videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.